right, a good day to all. Sam here with you on a Wednesday, June 27th here. And today, now we've polled our Twitter followers, as we're doing now on Wednesdays, let you all pick what gets video analysis here. So we did have a lot of requests for Bitcoin today, but since we're doing Bitcoin again on Friday, and it hasn't been a lot of price movement here, not enough to really warrant a new video, I thought we'd look at some other majors per the Twitter request. So I'm going to start here with Litecoin. So Litecoin, one hell of a correction we're experiencing here. So we're coming from 420 was our high as we sit back down here. What are we now? Approximately 80. That's a hell of a correction. Now, looking at it here, there's indeed some complexity here, but it's hard not to notice that we've just tapped this algo target here. So pulling from this pivot here down to our low where we get our 50, we get a perfect sell-off. Now, is that our low? Well, we are seeing a reaction there. So we're going to dig in there. But just to kind of review here this whole big picture, it would appear much like Bitcoin, at least the way I've got it counted currently, that we've got some sort of a combination here that's going. So we get a very clear ABC into a W. There's the push up for the X correcting that. Back down, we get an ABC. Now, I do think we have to allow for this truncation here to, in the fifth here, coming down 3-4 into the 5 to get this as a 3 wave. The X wave has to be correcting this downtrend. Now, it's not perfect. So in a perfect combination, the X wave would retrace up to 90%, well, ideally 90% of the prior swing, and we are not getting full 90% here, but I don't see another way to count this. So I'm going with that and just connecting the ABC. So the last X wave here connecting now this A into a perfect B at the 50 and coming down here to hit these targets. So that's what I've got working from this significant pivot, and you can see also the median line seems to be coming into play here. Now we've broken through it, but we're hovering, which is very common as that becomes a magnet for the market. So I'm here on a 4-hour on GDAX. Let's go down. Well, let's go down to the 1 hour. See if we can get anything out of this here. So as we've come down here from this pivot here, so here's our tap of the 50. We can get a pretty solid 5-wave structure coming down, and I've gone ahead and done the subdivision in it here. So coming down here from the rip, there's our 1. This is the deepest retracement we get. So I'm inclined to go with the 2 here. We get 5 down for the 3. It does qualify. It's longer than 1, not by a lot, but it is longer. So we do get a third there. Then looks like I've got a little ABC, and then coming down here again in the 5, and it looks like I've got just enough subdivision here in the 5th. So I'm going to go even down. Let's go down to a 15-minute and then dig into this last move down here. So there's a couple of ways we could count it. Now so one thought is here, given the 2 down to this 3 low into the 38 here, coming back to revisit the algo target. So we'd have to be allowing for a truncated 5th here. So the alternate would be that we've got something along these lines, and that this was our this would be our 4 and our 5 is in, and we've just done, much like Bitcoin, we've done a 1. Now this being a deep 2, we'd have to check that. So pulling from that low, if that's my 1, well, we've wicked through the 786, not unheard of. So if this is the 5, then all of this will have bottomed here, and we have a candidate here for a bottom. Just that, nothing more. Then a candidate for a bottom here is we can get 5 coming down into this. You know, if we start to get a good push up here heading towards, so if that's a 1-2, we'd count it this way. So here's our 2. We're going to need to see a big push into a 3, 4, and 5. Now let me get that. Let's make that so we can see it. Oh, come here. Let's go. We can go to minuscule. Okay, so that would cover us there as a 1-2. Now that, you know, so you'd have to get A, B, and then this looks impulsive. So that finishes the C. So this may be just starting out as the 1 of the 3rd of this smaller degree. Possible. All right, we got to see. So if this holds, so we could get median lines off this. So if we get that as our 1 and we've come down here for a 2, now let me get, well, that's That's kind of interesting. We've come right to the median line here, so I'm in modified shift. So if I go back to original, we get back over here and we'll take a look at that. That's what we'd be aiming for. So we'd be looking for a third up here, something along these lines here, pushing us up to give us a 3, 4, 5. So a lot of distance to travel to confirm this as a 1, 2. This would be, again, over here. So it's contender. Not much help from the oscillators. Looks like we've got a little divergence here. So if this is going to stay, if we're going to stay with an impulsive move here, we're going to have to recycle that back down and then come up again. So we'll have to watch it and see. Of course, the contender is that if we have it wrong here, that means we'd be coming down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be, we'd be coming down. This would be our 3. This would be our 4, and then this could be 1, 2. So that allows for a move lower down here if we're going to come down and catch this. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is putting us, we're back towards the mid 60s, which certainly the chart implies that it's a possibility here. I think that's less likely, but there it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has to hold. Has to hold. So, and we need to see some impulsive movement here. So just getting started here. So here's the next place you'd need to see. We'd need to see this kind of a movement here. So, come here. Trading view sometimes drives me crazy. So we'd have to get something like that. There's the algo target, then down for a 2, and then going 3, 4, and then trying to get up here for a 5. That'd be our contender here for if we're pushing off here, and it may not go that way, and we may end up with something like this. You just don't know what that's going to look like here until you get something to work with. So I can just go, if I look at it and go, well, 1, depending on if and when we get a pivot up here, then looking for that next retrace. And that would be a reasonable place to be a buyer. So ideally here with the median line coming down, if this will push up a little higher, give us more confidence that I've got this pivot in here as a good possibility for a second. If I come down here and I could buy it on the median line, I do like that. Then we could be, so you could be very conservative here, stop under the 65. Or if you want to give it maximum room here, since we're talking about an $80 coin here. So we could give it a little more room underneath this pivot here on the assumption here that if this is my 1, 2, that low should hold. I maintain my 80% probability here with the corner pocket of getting to the median line. Of course, the critical piece of that is that this low must hold. So can't allow for any sort of a retrace back down here to push and break that. Then it looks like we're headed down. Minimum would be down here. Now we're back down into the mid 60s. So this needs to get legs here. And of course, it will go along with Bitcoin. So a little push here, a retrace. I'd love it here if I could buy it on the outside edge at a tap of the median line. That sets up the push with reasonable risk reward, whether the 65 or the pivot low here. So, tradable, very tradable. All right, now again, not loading the boat here, but that's a reasonable place for an entry, considering where we sit down here in the 70s with an all-time high of 420-ish. Long way to go if indeed we're going to start to recover and establish a new trend, right? So are we there yet? And can't make that call, but at least we have the ingredients here for a potential pivot. All right, guys, that's about all I've got on Litecoin here. So I'll wrap it. So we'll do multiple videos today. So with that, I'll wrap on Litecoin, and we'll be back to look at some other things. Okay, that's it for now.